Well, hello again, and welcome to another Thursday Live here at the Association of PEMF Professionals. I am Dr. Jerry Dreessen, the AOPP Executive Director, and welcoming those of you that are members to our association, but also brand new people that are watching this for the very first time, or it might be one or two that you've already seen. So again, welcome to the live, and again, those of you that are watching the recording. You can definitely be interactive as well by typing in your comments, which we get the chance to see and interact with too. So just a couple of announcements. I guess just one. What we've got going on, those of you that have been anxiously awaiting our website to be updated, upgraded. So we are now fully functional. So you can check it out. You can look at the map as far as locations. You can type in a zip code and find practitioners in an area. You can look up a business name. If you are in just the map, you can type in a last name of a person or a first name, and it'll bring up different things. So it's functional now, so that's good. And then also our research area, so you can now have access to the research that's going on there too. Let's jump into today's live, and we're going to be talking a little bit about putting PEMF to work. It's the third of our three-part series as we wind down the year here in 2025. And so we're going to be talking about, for some of you, it's review. For some of you, it's brand new. And that's what our goal is to put in a couple of pearls along the way for those of you that are certified and that are members. And those of you that are just watching this for the first time, and this is information that you have not seen. So with that, let's just jump right in. The water's warm. I guarantee it. So let me shrink down so you can see more of what's going on here. There we go. So what do we mean by stacking? And so, putting PEMF to work with other wellness tools. So as far as a quick recap, PEMF for people, we use comfort, recovery, resilience. For animals, it's family animals, barn, best practice uses. You've got workhorses, you've got performance horses and performance dogs. Some of you even have performance cats. So I want to see pictures of that if you've got those. Stacking as far as PEMF, using alongside exercise and rehab. Manual therapies like chiropractic, massage, and stretching. Medications where you're under a medical doctor or vet care. And then other tech as far as red light, ultrasound, etc. But the key idea is that PEMF is best supported as an adjunct, not a replacement. So I'm using PEMF instead of blank. There are some cases where you could use that, but in essence, don't swap out what you're using if it's under medical supervision. Always get the okay on something like that, but you can use it in addition to. So let me jump on to the next slide here. I have to get to it. All right, here we go. So with humans, what the research shows about PEMF as an adjunct is it is whatever you're using it with works better with PEMF versus using it alone. That's kind of the overview. For example, with knee osteoarthritis and PEMF, if you add physical therapy exercise, then you will decrease pain and increase the function a lot faster than if it was just PT alone. So you can accelerate results. You can improve function. You can increase comfort faster when you add PEMF to it. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's kind of like adding salt to food. It's kind of bland, but you put a little salt in it becomes very flavorful. So with PEMF, you can definitely enhance your current system that you're using. Now, PEMF all on its own does a great job too. But again, if you're using another property like we're just talking about here, the strongest studies are that PEMF plus rehab equals better movement or function. Practical stacking frameworks for humans. We're turning research into daily practice. The rules of thumb: support what already works and don't replace it. Thinking about timing, like before activity and after activity. Charting those things is really important. Example is like an office athlete. So light movement using PEMF, gentle stretching, manual work, and then rehab stack where you're doing therapeutic exercise and putting PEMF on the target joint. And I use that, again, as a chiropractor. I use that in my practice for shoulders. I do it for knees. I have the large pad people sit on for their low back. And yeah, I'll if somebody's new to the practice and they've got back pain, I'll say, you know what, I want you to try this out for 5 minutes just to see, how it works on you. And I explain it, and they come over and they sit on the mat, and I do 5 minutes on low, and then they stand up and they go, okay, what is this again? And that's 90% of the time, that's what they say. They go, what is this again? And then I walk them through that. They go, can I use this? And then I explain, yeah, you can, we do. And I go through my information that I do. And then they start coming back, not only for chiropractic, but then they also use PEMF. And then they start saying, well, is it better to do PEMF before or after the adjustment? And then I assess that based on if they're chronic or acute. So I'll say, let's use PEMF first to see if we can drop your comfort level or raise your comfort level up, drop your irritation area down, and get a better adjustment. Sometimes it's like, well, let's get this thing unlocked, and then we'll end with PEMF so that you walk out of here with, all the pistons firing. So it works great for that. And again, then they start going into what I call research mode for me, where they're going 2 or 3 times a week for 3 to 5 weeks. And that seems to be the norm also. And that's something you should look at. I parallel that to working out. So you can work out once a week, you can work out twice a week, you can work out 3 times a week, you can work out once a month. And if somebody goes to the gym, they go, I've been working out once a month and I'm not seeing any results. What's the deal here? And so it's like, you got to do it more frequent. So PEMF is like that also. If they've tried it once or twice and they're not getting results, chances are they need to be in more frequent. The times need to be a little bit longer, but not increase the intensity on that. It's just, well, instead of 5 minutes or 10 minutes, let's do 15 or 20 minutes or a half hour. So you guys that are using this, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you that are just trying out for the first time. If you go through all our videos, most likely you will hear us say low and slow, low amount and slow time on it. So, less time on lower amounts to start with, and then you can go from there. I would say probably 80% of the people that are using it are able to ramp up pretty fast, but it's better if you start that way. That way, if there's a giant detoxification and they feel really nauseous, they're not going to say that made me sick. It's no, your body did this giant purge of detoxification and you didn't drink the water like I had told you to do. So if you're going out and meeting people, that's part of your kit is a bottle of water, and you have them, drink half of it before and half of it after. That'll help out with that too. Now, onto the animal side, PEMF in multimodal care. So there's already the norm that, is set up in barns and in clinics. But on the horse side, you've got PEMF, body work, conditioning. You've got vet-guided rehab. That all works hand in hand. And the more that you can, pair up with the vets and they get a chance to know you and what you've got, the better it's going to be down the road. If there's ever like the vet board of the state says, what's going on with this PEMF thing, then, you and the vet can walk in there and say, here's what works. It's doing fine. The vets are okay with it. The practitioners, they're certified. They know what they're doing. So just leave us alone. That ultimately, that would be the best conversation to have. Dogs and small animals, you've got PEMF and rehab. If they're on some sort of treadmill, exercise, manual therapy, again, I would say like after their rehab would probably be the best way to start. That way, if there's any inflammation that's caused from the rehab itself, PEMF will help drop that. And then add it to standard osteoarthritis care, but not replacing it. So again, if they're already on some kind of system, the worst thing you could do as a PEMF person is walk in and say, okay, stop all your medications, stop all your rehab. We're only going to do PEMF. And that's a very, very short ticket to getting booted out of wherever you are, because nobody is going to like somebody stomping in and just killing everything to do just PEMF. So again, be wise in what you do. If it's your own animal, then do it wisely. That's the main thing. We want you to not create any waves that you can't surf yourself. And then again with livestock, early studies, again, PEMF is an adjunct to mastitis management for cows or in any animal, I guess. Goats, we've seen that too. And it supports inflammation and recovery, but it's not a substitute for vet care. It should be worked together with vet care. And then avoid overstacking. Again, more is not always better. And why it happens is that you've got too many tools, too much enthusiasm, client pressure. Those are the big ones. It's like, wow, this is working great. Can we just like crank it up a little higher? Or, can I just do 30 minutes instead of 20? What can happen, and I would say 10 to 15% of the time, is that's just a little too much for them. And then they feel a lot more nauseous the next day, or they feel nauseous. Or they're sore for some reason, and had you stuck to your guns, they wouldn't have been. And now they're looking at the device with, maybe I don't want to do that, versus, the enthusiasm starts to go down for PEMF if they find that they use too much and they may not comply with your recommendations. And especially if you're not solid on it and they are in there and they're kind of massaging the events, and then things happen, you have no control over what can happen if they decide to crank it up. And those of you that know me and know my story of a chiropractor that decided to crank it up when I wasn't looking, ended up hurting his disc problem even worse, and he told me so, and I wasn't aware of it. So keep those restrictions, and don't put the device right next to the person where they're going to be tempted to turn it up when you're not looking. And then also the red flags, fatigue, headaches, wired and tired, the prolonged off feeling, animals, agitation, shutdown and reluctance to work. So those are some times where, again, and I think it's just all about detox, where the area just has this purge of getting rid of all its waste product, but that can show up as soreness and stiffness. And then it gets in the bloodstream and can kind of make people and animals feel a little cloudy. So those are the main things. So again, resetting shorter PEMF sessions to lower the intensity, and then separate intense modalities, or separate them, and then return to a simple stack and rebuild. So it's like, whoa, that was way too much, Mrs. Johnson. Okay, we're going to start over. We're going to go really low. I'm just going to do 10 minutes. We'll see how you do with that. And by the way, did you tell me all the medications that you're on? Or, was there an injury in this area that we didn't talk about? So oftentimes they may have forgotten to tell you about other things going on too, or that they just had a change in medication. It's like, but I've been taking that for years, and they just changed it a little bit. Okay, well, now it's a new medication. Let's look up the toxic side effects of this. So you can do your due diligence that way too. So our role in smart stacking, again, making thoughtful PEMF use the standard, and what we're What we're building as the Association of PEMF Professionals is a device-neutral stacking framework and shared language and outcome measures, and then feature real-world outcome tracking. So you guys are out there using it and you're finding things that work and don't work. And thank you for sharing all of that with us. Again, it makes us as an association smarter and broader because we don't have 20 rooms filled with scientists working on every animal known to man to gain information for us to communicate. It's all of you that are out in the field, and the same with me. That's what I love about having the device at the clinic, is where I can see firsthand what's going on too, and then use the little pieces of information that you glean along the way too to help formulate that. So the again, as a member, you get education on PEMF within the bigger care plans, and then you get forms and templates for the rehab and conditioning programs, and then also the community of sharing real world stacks that people do. And I would say the key takeaway today is that PEMF works best as a part of a clear, intentional plan. And the goal isn't more tools, it's just better strategy. So that piece right there, there's your pearl for those of you that have been doing it for a while. Of course, you also know this. Some of you that have been doing it for a long time, and those of you that are just starting up, you have this love of PEMF, and you want everybody in your family, all your friends, to be able to use it. And again, they're excited, you're excited, and then it's like, wow, that 10 minutes went by really fast. You sure I can't do more? And there's that temptation. So you gotta stay ahead of it. So then, as we're going to, I just wanted to say hi, Janet. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you are on our live today, so you can see what's going on. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in. But as we are winding down today's talk, remember, PEMF shines when it complements good care. I think that's the overall. And that's the other part of it, is if somebody's having problems, it may not be PEMF. It may be that they got overstretched in physical therapy, or, what else are they doing that the complication could be arising from? So that's something for you to make notes on too. It's like, very sore today, but yesterday or today had a very intense physical therapy session. And they may forget too. And they go, well, I don't want to come see you because last week I was really sore from that. And that's where you say, well, my notes say that you had a very intense, physical therapy routine. That's probably what caused the problem. And they go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And they do. So, taking good notes is great. So as we are winding down the year, remember, putting PEMF together, stacking it with all of the great things that are out there. As a member, you get, in the certification programs, you get access to all of the things that we recommend for stacking, which is why becoming a member is a smart thing to do. And then happy holidays. We will be seeing you in the new year. We are done for the year. This is our last one for the year because of our lives will be on some major holidays, including New Year's. Speaking of New Year's, I'd like to say Happy New Year to all of our countries that are members. Believe it or not, we are now in 37 countries, the AOPP. So we are educating people in 37 countries now. They are all becoming certified and are members. So there was a time where we were 3 countries, and then we jumped to 17, and now we are at 17. So I do not have time to say happy holidays in every language, but if you do check out our feeds, you'll see that we've got all the different languages. We're putting that together. So have fun looking at all of the ways to say happy holidays or happy new year in 37 different languages. If you are interested, if this is the first time you're seeing this, if you want to become a member or just learn more about it, hop onto our website, pemfprofessionals.com. There are different membership levels. Certification is all about how to use your device and what you can do to be a better PEMF provider, whether you're using it on yourself or if you turn it into a business. And hey, Tom, thanks for hopping on. Glad you were able to jump in here again today. Again, if you have any questions or tips on PEMF, shoot us a email, info@pemfprofessionals.com. And if you are feeling good, jump in and like and share today's broadcast. Again, we're live on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And the more that you can click on that, the wider we get to spread everything. But I will say this, we have some really cool announcements to make. And hopefully if we get all our ducks in a row, we'll be able to make that announcement, our first broadcast in January of 2026. So again, thank you so much for those of you that are members, and that we had a great year, our PEMF Con, with our speakers, and those of you again that are jumping in and using all of our systems. And go on the website, check membership, make sure that you're there with your zip code and your name. If there's any changes that you need to make on that, let us know, and we'll get that done too. So with that, I want to thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the month, and we'll see you in 2026. Holy cow. All right.